you've got Rick Steiner's kid there, the nephew of Scott Steiner. Yeah. And now, Chris, you've got Pillman's kid there.
Yes.
They're doing the same thing with Pillman's kid, bro. They're not using the name.
Yeah.
This is what I'm talking about, bro. And yes, Triple H has a hand in that. To me, that is so freaking ridiculous, bro.
Actually, if it's a positive change about Triple H getting the creative powers for Vince McMahon, this is what Dave Meltzer said. He said, that's how it was described to me. For now, he's backed off. He still has the power. If he wants to change something, he will. But right now, he's pretty much backed off on that. So what you're seeing right now is pretty much what I was told, 99% or whatever. This is so Meltzer. 95% Paul Levesque. I mean, Vince is still around, and there's probably going to be input when it comes to main event programs and things like that going forward. But right now, it is mostly the Paul Levesque show now as far as what's going on TV and everything. Man, that's just a whole lot of nothing. All right, EC3, your thoughts on this breaking news?
Yeah, I mean,
it's kind of Triple H, but it's not really Triple H. But Vince kind of, he kind of backed off. But what you see on the main events is him, but you kind of see him, but you don't really see him.
Yeah, man, I love words and speculation.
Yes.
I don't know if what he's saying has any semblance of truth, because there probably is a semblance of it, because more often than not, the reporting is like, what's probably happening? Okay, I'm going to report that as though it's news, and then I'm, right 70% of the time. But if it is true, yeah, like Triple H, I think has a great, obviously, for the industry and the business, and I think as the booker man, I mean, there's still so much not out of his control, but probably a lot he can't oversee. But I think grandiose long-term vision, that's something Triple H has. I think Vince probably is best utilized in a role where he chimes in and has that power, but he can defer, which I think was the issue. So for so many years, he wouldn't defer anything from creative to business. And when you get old, you lose your mind. And if you're not deferring to people you can trust, you're not really leading. You're a tyrant. Mm-hmm. So I don't know if it's true, but if Triple H has the pencil, it's probably pretty good. The other week, Vince and I were talking about the Rollins Nakamura bit, where I'm not watching, but he's telling me the story where like Nakamura knows he's got the bad back and he's whispering in his ears. And I'm like, ooh, this is really good. I was like, really into the story. He's telling it. And then upon the defeat of Nakamura, Rollins comes out and he's, glad-headed and singing a song. Yeah. And he's got and heels on, where it kind of throws all that really good drama away. Yes. So, he probably doesn't have full tilt control of everything.
Didn't even have a brace on his back.
Dude,
at least he could have sold that. Yeah.
I was into Uncle Vince telling me that story. I'm like, this.
Yeah, could have had his back, taped and everything. Nothing. He didn't even pull a DDP. Remember DDP for like 8 years had like his his ribs taped up.
His revenge character had a version of taped ribs.
Yes. Yeah, I remember that. I remember the taped ribs DDP. Yes. So before we go to Vince and his thoughts, you mentioned the phrase Booker Man. You're a trivia guy, EC3, like myself. Yeah. I have a quote for you, and you have to tell me the wrestler who quoted this. Okay, ready? You said Booker Man, so my quote is, "I respect you, Booker Man."
Brian Pillman.
Yep, indeed. Yes, indeed.
Bro, can you believe they're doing? See, this is where I disagree with EC3. Yeah, because, bro, I don't care if it's HBK. I don't care if it's Triple H. I don't care if it's Bruce. I don't care if it's Vince. I don't care if it's the Walrus. It's the wrestling bubble. Case in point. Bro, EC3, you've got Rick Steiner's kid there, the nephew of Scott Steiner.
Yeah.
And now, Chris, you've got Pillman's kid there.
Yes.
They're doing the same thing with Pillman's kid, bro. They're not using the name.
Yeah.
This is what I'm talking about, bro. And yes, Triple H has a hand in that. To me, that is so freaking ridiculous, bro. It would be like you being Hank Aaron Jr. and you're going to change your last name.
Yeah. And first name too.
Come on, man.
Yeah.
I don't. It's ridiculous, bro.
Yeah.
Braun Breaker is such a horrible
Very
name.
generic, yes.
And now they're doing the same thing with Pillman's kid.
Yeah. I think the promo was cool. I
I
don't
have a problem with the promo.
Yeah, the thing was like he was like, man, I don't want you died when I was 4. Like the scathing promo that he started off talking about his father and saying you went around and I'm gonna name myself after. But my thing is like go with that. Like be Brian Pillman Jr., but go with that. Like you're a more loose cannon. Like you're a crazier, fringier loose cannon. Like that can be the gimmick. That the fact that my father, who was a loose cannon, was never with me, was never there for me. He died when I was 4. You weren't there for me. Man, he could have came in and just been the most fringiest, wackiest, most bizarre loose cannon that could have worked just like that.
And especially when you say, as a heel, when you say, I'm not going to be the man my father was,
yes,
and you're 10 times as worse.
Correct.
And
You're even more crazy.
Now you got heat, bro.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. You could have definitely been Brian Pillman Jr. or Brian Pillman.
They gotta put their freaking fingerprints on it, bro.
Yes, indeed.
Well, I then per my point, based on that sterling, totally just information we were fed, I do agree with Vince. Like at the end of the day, they live in the wrestling bubble, and I think one thing that would disappoint me about Trips and Sean is I know where their mind's at for the business. But I think they too feared popping the bubble and bringing us back a little bit.
We'll see. My main takeaway from this, Chris, is, to be honest with you, bro, listen, man, we sat down and we saw the interview with Ari. And Ari made it clear. He had a 20-year relationship with Vince McMahon. I bought this company because of this man.
Yeah.
During that same interview, bro, Vince spoke briefly and was a shell of himself. Mm-hmm. Since then, the guy's had major surgery. So what I am really concerned about is, what is Vince's health? Sure. I mean, really, what is Vince's health? For Ari to go away from Vince, and now, if Triple H is the guy, I'm really concerned about, man, how much did that operation take out of him? That's the question for me.
Sure. Yeah. I think he's reluctantly admitting that his health is, deteriorating, and he's almost 80 years old. So I mean, Father Time does not discriminate and always wins, undefeated. What's that again, Nice?
What was that dumb surgery he had on TV in the Attitude Era? Didn't something get removed from somebody's ass or?
Oh, the hand.
That was JR. Was they were pulling stuff? Yeah, that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Full circle karma.
Yeah. Very, very unfortunate. So yeah, I mean, I think he's reluctantly admitting that, and I think if it's one person that he entrusts to at least take over the creative, it would be Triple H. And so, but which is kind of surprising to me in a sense, because Bruce, on and off, but on for the most part, for the better part of 35 years, was his right-hand man. Mm-hmm. So wouldn't Bruce Pritchard be heir apparent when it comes to delegation of creative duties, being in charge of that?
Knives out. You gotta love it, man.
Yeah. Unless, bro, he's heavily involved with the talent relations. You can't.
That could be the case.
You can't do both, bro. You can't do both, bro.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, that would be interesting. Michael Hayes was really big into agent work and stuff like that too. He's been his right hand man for a while too. So Interesting. We'll see. We'll see where this goes as far as Triple H being reportedly 99 or 95%, whatever. 5 stars is 4 1/4, same 7-star match. Never gave one before. All of that wrapped in one, and here's what you get.